One of the most ancient and beloved of all Advent hymns is O Come, Emmanuel. In fact, in the Missalette, it's the first hymn of the section in the back where the music is. All 7 verses of O Come, Emmanuel begin with the word O, because when we sing it, we're singing the O antiphons. The O antiphons have been sung in monasteries since at least the 5th century. They're chanted at Vespers or evening prayer, along with the Magnificat. So an antiphon would be chanted before the Magnificat, which is Mary's prayer, "My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord," and then at the end, the antiphon would be sung again. They celebrate the octave of Christmas, which begins on December 17th and closes on December 23rd. The evening prayer, or the Vespers of Christmas Eve, actually close this octave, or 8 days of prayer leading up to the great feast of Christmas. I'm going to take us briefly through the 7 O antiphons. The first 2 antiphons address God himself. O wisdom, or in the Latin, O sapientia. It begins at the beginning, praising the power of God and his strong yet tender ordering of creation. And so when we sing it, it's O come, thou wisdom from on high. To us the path of knowledge show. The second O antiphon goes, O Lord of might, or in the Hebrew, O Adonai, who from Sinai's height shows himself to Moses in the burning bush as the supreme lawgiver, teaching us the way to go. Now the next 5 O antiphons actually contain messianic prophecies. The first one addresses Jesus as the root of Jesse. Sometimes root, or radix in the Latin, is translated rod or branch or stem or even flower. Isaiah prophesied, a shoot shall sprout from the stump of Jesse. Now who was Jesse? Jesse was the father of King David. The Messiah would be a descendant of the house of David. In fact, both Mary and Joseph were of the house of David. This antiphon inspired the beautiful Christmas song, Lo, how a rose ere blooming, of Jesse's lineage coming. The next antiphon is O key of David, in the Latin O clavis. That recalls Isaiah's prophecy that goes like this, quotes, I will place the key of the house of David on his shoulder. When he opens, no one will shut. When he shuts, no one will open. Jesus opens the gates of heaven. Jesus gave St. Peter and his successors the keys of the kingdom and the power to bind and to loose, a power which we experience every time we go to confession. The next antiphon is O Oriens. That's Latin for the dawn or the day spring. The sun rises in the east, the Orient. The Messiah is addressed as light and sun. So Isaiah prophesied, quotes, the people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. And so goes the carol. People look east. The next antiphon, O Rex Gentium, which is Latin for O King of the Nations. Isaiah prophesied, quotes, a child is born to us, a son is given to us, and upon his shoulder dominion rests. They name him Wonder Counselor, God Hero, Prince of Peace. If this sounds familiar, it's because Handel made this text very famous. The final antiphon is O Emmanuel, which is Hebrew for God with us. The Messiah is the desire of all the nations, the joy of every human heart. Isaiah prophesied, quotes, the Lord himself will give you this sign. A virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel. Gabriel would tell St. Joseph that Emmanuel means God with us. And Bach would compose the beautiful Jesu, joy of man's desiring. Now, why did I go through the trouble of giving you both the Latin and Hebrew as well as the English names for the antiphons? Because there's a theory which was put forth by a man named Robert Greenberg of the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. And he asserts that the Benedictine monks arranged these O antiphons in a certain way, almost like a riddle. So If you take the first letter of each of the antiphons, reading them backwards, the E from Emmanuel, the R from Rex or King, the O from Oriens or Dawn, Dayspring, the C from Clavis, which is the Latin for key, the R from Radix, the Latin for root, the A from Adonai, the Hebrew for Lord, and the S from Sapientia, the Latin for wisdom, and you arrange them like this: E-R-O-C-R-A-S, you come up with a phrase which translates, tomorrow I will come. Since these antiphons end on Christmas Eve, that's the message that's given. Tomorrow, Christmas Day, I will come.
Hermanos y hermanas, muy buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Yo soy José Cabrera y quisiera compartir con ustedes el Evangelio de hoy, 22 de diciembre del 2021. Pues en este Evangelio hay dos protagonistas, dos mujeres, Isabel y la Virgen Santísima, María. Las dos nos marcan a nosotros el camino para la salvación. Por el un lado, Isabel va a tener a su hijo, Juan Bautista, que él llegará para preparar el camino del Señor. Por el otro lado, la Virgen Santísima es bendecida por Dios para dar a luz al Salvador. Y las dos mujeres han sido tan obedientes, digamos así, han podido escuchar el mandato de Dios y por eso han sido bendecidas. Entonces nosotros también quisiéramos seguir ese mensaje de la Virgen Santísima, de Isabel, para poder llegar a donde queremos llegar. La Virgen siempre ha sabido decir sí a Dios Padre, y nosotros también quisiéramos seguir por ese mismo camino, pero siguiendo la obediencia, la humildad, la justicia. Eso es lo que Dios quiere de nosotros. Él nos ha dejado ya lo que debemos de hacer, pero debemos de cumplir. Hermanos y hermanas, este ha sido el Evangelio de esta noche. Y ya para terminar, pues estamos a pocos días de la Navidad, y esto se trata pues de la preparación de la llegada de Cristo en nuestros corazones, en nuestra vida. Amémoslo de todo corazón hasta el último día de nuestras vidas. Que Dios les bendiga y que tengan una feliz Navidad.